I love it. I love it. I love it. I don't know about you, Task, but I love it. Don't you love it? No.
You will have to narrow down what you are referring to.
I love hanging out on a CryptoManiacs Tuesday with Eddie Spino,
That I can agree with. I love
right?
that too.
So
Yep.
I'll let you do the introductions and the description of what we're doing tonight. I'm going to go thread this live stream because that's what
Ah,
we're doing, right?
yes, we are threading. I've been threading for 2 days straight. I threaded on the old UI yesterday and the new UI today, and I was mainly responsible for getting Cal to trend in threads. We put about 500 threads with Cal in it. So anybody who's not aware, Leo Finance dropped their new UI. It's
That's a good.
alpha.leofinance.io/threads. And it is like Twitter. It's lightning quick. It's very feature limited right now because they're debugging. It is alpha. So they want feedback on the stuff that they have. And then once they work it out every week, they're going to start releasing more features and keep expanding. So it's good, and I'm glad you're sending out the links for the show out on Threads. That needs to be a communication mechanism, and yes, we have Eddie with us. We were trying to get into Venezuela to find out what's going on there, but unfortunately, technical difficulties caused some issues there. But this week, Eddie didn't have technical
They,
difficulties, so
they,
he's
they
able.
say that we don't have internet, but we have patria. They say that the Venezuelans that they don't have many things, but they have the country, the patria. So it's a joke that they do. Last week, or last Thursday, I also had problems with my internet. Like 15 minutes before the show, I've been having. Lately, it has been better, much better. But a couple of weeks ago, I had like 4 hours a day without internet. Something was wrong with the the configuration or the settings of the internet. But now it's working fine, and I'm super happy because if not, I can't work. I can't do anything.
Well, I fell victim 2 weeks ago to the internet bug myself, so none of us
Mhm.
are exempt from it. And John, every third show cusses out Elon. You know,
I don't hate Elon. I don't hate Elon.
he
I
just hates
can't.
it when his internet doesn't work real well.
Well, I hate Ethereum. That I can safely safe. I can't even talk. Safely, I can say that I hate Ethereum and MetaMask.
I was going to
Um,
say we can add MetaMask and Mask and just put that in together. And,
yeah, but I don't hate Elon. I mean, Starlink has been decent for me. It's
he's the
anyways.
alternative out there in the sticks where you're living.
Oh, dude, it's like it's bad. It's really bad. You have no options in rural North America. I don't know what it's like down there, but where I'm at, if you don't have Starlink, you're screwed.
So all your neighbors, well, if you have neighbors, do they also have Starlink?
I can't see my neighbor. That's how far away we are, and
Okay.
our neighbor is back in the woods, so I can't see their house, and I've never been up there. But
Mhm.
a lot of them have like they have satellite internet,
Mhm.
but from like a company that's horrible. But they've just used it forever, right? So Starlink is new, and I'd like to think I'm youngish and hip to Elon. I know what's going on. So as soon as I found out that Starlink I could get it in Canada, I signed up, and it's been pretty good.
By the way, John,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you caught this, and I think I'm right, but I think John, you and I owe congratulations to Eddie.
Yes,
I hear he has a package on the way,
he does.
a baby.
Oh yeah, oh that package, yeah. Oh, I thought you were like we sent him something. I was like, what?
No,
No,
we didn't send him somewhere. We were not that sophisticated. No, you're having a child, right, Eddie?
Yeah,
Oh yes,
congratulations.
I was like, which package? Yes,
I
I'm
know that's
having.
what I like. I'm like, I don't even know what he's talking about. Package. Like, what did we send him? Send it to
Yes,
me.
we actually went yesterday to the gynecologist, the appointment, and we saw the baby, and it was like moving his hands, and where the doctor had to wake up the baby, and
Wow.
and my because he was like fast asleep. So only about 12 weeks at the moment. So it's still
Is this your first child?
Yes. As far as I know, no, yes.
Good, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
The first year, it's stressful,
Mhm.
but it gets easier, man. Trust me.
Okay.
Till they turn about 14 or 15, then it's really hell.
Yes, my parents are like, just wait until they turn 36 or something, man. Like, I'm
Oh,
Yeah, well,
36.
hopefully they're out of the house. But
No,
Yeah,
yes,
hopefully they're out of the house by then, right?
but I was out of my house like 3 years ago, so so they have to. You know, the millennials, we can't afford any property. We can't afford. We are the generation that we are 30 years old and we're still with our parents. Well, I was 33 years old or 32 when I left my house, so it's difficult.
Task, we grew up in the wrong era, man. Yeah,
shit, if I could, I'd move back in with my mom today.
yeah, I know exactly.
My dad, not so much, but my mom, yeah, I would do that.
Mm,
Let her pay the bills. But
yes.
Eddie, we'll do our best to try to get the price of Hive moving in the right
Mhm.
direction at some point here, and
Yeah.
John and I will keep consistent
We-
posting content. So
Eliana Gomez is saying in the comments that to get a Hive account for the baby, I already have one,
Yeah,
and I
good
have
idea.
almost 1,000 HBD on savings for the baby at the moment.
That's,
Almost.
I started doing that for my kids.
Mhm.
That was the idea. This was way before the 20%. And I said, you know what? Let me just put like $10, $20 a month into this account.
Mhm.
And just because I got
Forget
two
about
kids
it.
that are, under 5. So I said, let me just do it and see what happens in 10 years from now. And I think that's a brilliant plan. I think,
Mhm.
I mean, who knows if it's going to if HBD is going to stay at 20%, but even if it stays at 10% or something, I mean,
Mhm.
I think that's a great idea. So, but I'm very biased, as you guys probably know. So, yeah, Eliana's got 400 for her son. I mean, it's great. It's great.
And I also have some Hive power, but not a lot. I actually what I'm doing is for some posts I'm putting that account as beneficiary, and so that way I get the Hive power and the HBE I put in savings, and the Hive power I'm delegating back to Aliento, so it also helps the project. I could put a trail too, but I don't know. I don't want the trail to be like with full of bot accounts. I prefer to delegate the Hive power to Aliento, and I'm paying myself the delegation.
Aliento's a fantastic delegation project. Just shameless promotion for Eddie. I've been delegating for a while now, and I love my dividend payments every week. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
It's kind of the payments are semi-automatic. We have a bot. I put some commands on Discord. I send the Hive to the account to another account, and that account automatically sends the transfers weekly to each delegator. So that way it's more safe. I don't have like the active key of Aliento in a random server. I have the active key of that account that is always empty, aliento.pay. So that's how we have been doing it for almost 2 years now, more or less, almost 2 years that we are paying. And before the Equilibrium, or which was the name, the Equilibrium of Hartford, when all the creation rewards are the same for in the first 24 hours, we used to have like 22. Sometimes some weeks we used to have like 22% APR because we bought it with Aliento and then bought it with that. Maybe that was cheating a little bit, but everything was. But now it's better because it doesn't matter, and I'm not there like trying to snipe out curation rewards, and that way we can support more people. In Aliento, we have many communities that the leaders of the communities they send us posts, and we upload them. It's similar, like I copied the model of OCD, more or less. That they
Right.
have their incubation, and they have more strict rules than us in Aliento, but it's similar. They can send, for example, 3 posts a day each community, and I bought them with Aliento at least at 25%, and then I bought those with that. And all the votes are manual. I don't have any type of fan base in Aliento or automatic votes. All of them are manual, so it's a 24/7 job because we have to. What we are very careful is to vote them in the first 24 hours. That I think that should be changed. Like if I was a top 20 witness or friends with block trace or whatever, I will I will maybe change that to 2 days or 3.5 days, because sometimes you can see a post that is $5 and it's already 24 hours or 25 hours or
Right.
2 days, and even if it's a good post, most of the curation projects will not vote it because you will be losing curation rewards.
Would that require a hard fork, or is that just, you think, a top 20 witness kind of
I think it will require a hard fork. I think they
for
will have to
pay?
change that in the code. But I think that maybe 3.5 days would be, or 2 days would be good. That way we could have a little bit more space to support the projects.
Yeah.
Well, what John and I have talked about on a number of occasions, Eddie, over the last maybe month and a half, is the idea of evergreen content and making that valuable by layer 2 applications. And I know Dan has expressed he has a plan that he's mapped out. John is working, John and Blaine are working on something for
In views or for CTP, because there could be a site that could have maybe not all the posts of hype, but they could have like specific posts that are good for that get a lot of searches or are well positioned on search engines, and maybe those posts, if they get a lot of views, they could get a token or something because of the ads or the sponsors or something else. I don't know. That could be a way. Do you remember the idea that I had for evergreen content? It was like something like you made a comment and put the person as a beneficiary, the author of the post, and then you vote that comment, or anyone can vote that comment in those 7 days or 24 hours, sorry. And in those 24 hours, and that will give another more high rewards to the original author. But I don't know if the community will see that as something good, because it could be easily abused too.
It could be abused, but that could be set up, as some type of evergreen curation trail if you wanted to. I mean, what you're saying there is very legit. You just have a bot leave a comment on an old post, and then go through and do exactly what you said, upvote it, and then the author is the beneficiary of whatever that upvote carries. And that could work on a layer 2 with a token tied to it. But then again, you'd have to, you always come back to the idea of, to start a new token, it's then how do you build the value? And if you have an existing project, how do you work it into an existing project? That's why, what we've been talking about is views as a new project, but they haven't applied the tokenomics yet to it. So there's the opportunity to maybe work a tokenomics into a relatively new and evolving front end / application. And so I think that's really where, and same thing with 3Speak, and what Dan's mentioned a couple of times on CTT is 3Speak is a working application. They don't have a token tied to it yet, a proof of brain, and he has some other ideas about how to take proof of brain and manipulate it around. into some type of, I don't even know what words he used, but some type of savings and something like that, and then you get paid out of interest or something. But these are innovative ideas, and I think once somebody breaks through and brings the idea to the table, it'll be copycatted all across the board, which is great. I mean,
The idea is to just to make something open source, and any platform could integrate it, or any front end. But
yeah.
talking about that, we want in Aliento, we want to create and with other projects, we want to create a breakaway community. So actually, Eric, Nomad Soul, who is like the right hand of Cal at the moment, he, well,
that describes him pretty good, right? Yeah.
Well, he actually contacted me to begin using threads, and I'm still pending. I haven't. I'm a little bit like ashamed with him because I haven't been able to do it. But I'm waiting for Enrique's helping me to. We already have a domain for Aliento, which is called aliento.blog, and we want to create a breakaway community in that domain, and all the people could be. It's an SNC fork. I think you have heard about it. It's an SNC fork, but only for a specific community, and you have like a community page where you can see all the posts, and people can create posts there. So, and the idea is to invite the community, the people that post in Aliento, to use the breakaway community and then promote it in threads. That's the idea, but we are still pending. I will talk with Enrique to because he has to help me to move the domain, because at the moment, if you go to aliento.blog, there's a landing page for Aliento. So we have to move the landing page to a subdomain, and then in the main page or the main domain, aliento.blog, put the breakaway community. That's
I will
the
say that John, who is a Twitter master and an expert, he's been doing Twitter a lot of years. He was very impressed with Threads this morning.
Oh yeah.
Can you repeat? Can you? Which is the new UI for Threads?
It's alpha.leofinance.io /
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So well, you don't even need to do backslash because it redirects.
Oh, okay.
Right? So yeah.
It looks like Twitter. It looks like Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, it's really fast. I put a tweet out, not a thread. I put a tweet out just saying that I appreciated this because I think this is something that could really help Hive as a whole, but more specifically Leo and the entire community. And you saw it on the AMA today. Like, people were really excited. The community was really excited to get going with this, and I think the biggest thing for me personally, I'm a user interface guy. I like things that are simple. The big thing for me was that it was clean, but it was fast. That was critical. Probably the biggest reason why Blaine pulls his hair out with me is because I'm always complaining about the speed of things. Views, did it load really quick? Did it load really quick? Did it load the CTP talk front end? I can't stand that it loads so slow. I need fast. The Leo Threads guys got it right with the UI. The speed of it is fantastic. So
yeah, and what they're doing now is they're taking that UI, which is a clean sheet design, by the way. It has nothing to do with the other UI. It was a clean sheet design, new code, and they're building other features into it, like the long form blogging is built in there. I mean, it doesn't have drafts and it's scaled down in the features, but see, they're adding more in to that clean sheet design, and then they'll scrap the old one. And now you'll bring that speed and efficiency. Hopefully, I guess the idea is to bring that speed and efficiency to all applications that go through under the Leo umbrella. And, so yeah, I would agree with you. The speed. I was using the pre-alpha, back end for about a week, and that was it was better than the old UI, John, but it was nothing like. I mean, when
Right.
that dropped today, and I got on there, I'm like, holy Jesus, this was a lot quicker than even the back end that I was using, or the pre-alpha, or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
So I think it was a good thing, and I think, again, and this is going to be my one part of my post in the morning. This all ties in together. I mean, you start to get the activity, you get transactions, every thread, then you get comments, and you get upvotes. And guess what all that equates to? Resource credits. What do resource credits equate to? High power. What does high power equate to? High, which means somebody's got to get it empowered up at some point. And I think my long-term view of Hive, guys, is at some point we hit that equilibrium. And I even sent a message to Dallas today saying, out of curiosity, can you run a report and give us a chart of Hive power over the last whatever time period, 2 years or whatever, as a ratio of total Hive available? Because I think at some point we're going to have 60, 70, 80% of the Hive available out there powered up, simply because applications need the resource credits.
Yep. Yeah. See, Eddie's threading right now. So.
Is he threading in English? The big question is, he's threading in English or Spanish?
English.
In English, right at the moment. I can do a thread in Spanish.
I dropped a note to I tagged Hive Cuba, because there was somebody in Cuba on there. He's writing in English, and I tagged Hive Cuba and said, "Are you on here?" He says, "We're lurking." And he didn't use the word lurking, but basically that's what he said. I said, well, we need more Spanish content on here. You know, I mean, John, this is how you and I are going to learn how to speak Spanish, or at least read it. We'll be on threads and we'll just read the Spanish comments.
Well, like Eddie said, he learned English by playing video games. I mean, we can learn Spanish by just hanging out in threads. No?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like it. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, but no, it's great, man. I mean, and I mentioned this, and Cal, I was watching on Twitter for some reason I can't get Discord's audio to play when I'm in an AMA or listening in. Like, it happened when I used to go to the old Splinterlands ones. So I was just like, whatever, I'll watch it on Twitter. And he mentioned me that I put a thread out there. The only issue I have with this is I think it's still going to be confusing for people to go to Leo Finance and then hear about Threads. I think Threads, even if you rebrand it Leo Threads, is a lot. I mean, Threads, I think, is a fantastic brand name. It's up there with like one of the better brand names for a social media platform. I think it's great.
Almost as good as Views.
Well, of course, you know, but I think they should run with that, man.
I had nothing to do with the Views name, but that's a damn good name that you guys selected with Views. You guys hit a home run on that name.
I'd take credit for it. Actually, I'm going to.
Of course you will, even if you don't deserve it.
Well, it was actually Blaine and I. It was. I can't even tell you who. It was basically him and I going back and forth. But I think Threads as a brand is brilliant. I think it's fantastic. We're threading. We're going to do a thread storm. Let's do threading instead of a tweet. Like it just rolls off the tongue. The confusion for a customer, Blaine, I just gave you credit, man. I just gave you credit. Come on. But I think
wait a second. Blaine, he didn't give you credit. He gave you half credit. He said, well, it was me and Blaine going back and forth.
It was me, and I can't, because honest to goodness, I can't tell you if it was him or I that came up with it.
He says it was him.
I was joking around. Tupac Shakur famously said, all I want is money, screw the fame. I'm a simple man. That's it. Just give me the crypto, man. I don't want to be famous. Task, you can be famous. Eddie, you can be famous. You guys go be famous. I just want the HBD, man. That's all I want. Okay.
No, I see what you're saying, and my point of contention is, and I agree with you what you said, actually, John. I think Threads is an awesome name.
Fantastic.
I still don't believe it's as good as Views. I mean, you guys just did wonderful with Views. But anyway,
Give it the blame. Give it the blame.
And what did you guys think the 3 speak shorts should be called? I was thinking, I haven't told the team, but I was thinking we should call them 3 shorts or something like that.
3 shorts.
Like the 3 shorts will be like the videos that are less than 90 seconds.
Right.
The less than 90 seconds and in vertical format, and they will be viewed in the app. They will be viewed in the web app. I mean the mobile app and the web app. And I think they are talking with the Leo Finance guys to integrate them into Threads. So you can go to Threads in the mobile app and click record. You can start recording a short video and it's encoded and will be published right away on a thread. I think that's the goal. We're not there yet, by any chance, not yet, but we want to do that.
Well,
I think that's an important step forward, and this is and John and I were talking, Eddie, before you got on air, and I wrote a post about this on Leo Finance, and it's. And I did a video about it actually today, the interoperability between this infrastructure and what people produce. And the fact is, Views, if you're sitting there going through Views and you see an article or a video you like, Blaine made it very easy. It's 2 clicks, and all of a sudden you can take that article and put it on Threads. You can also pop it on Twitter, and I think, what's the other one, John? Facebook? Is that the other one? I think
Twitter. No, Twitter. You can put it on Twitter. You can put it on DBuzz.
DBuzz. That's the other one, DBuzz. Yeah. So you have these capabilities. So what you're saying about with these shorts and Leo Finance and some of these other applications, I think Ecency, Matt said Ecency has been talking to the team.
Yes, they also is to be able to upload on the breakaway communities, on any breakaway community, or in Essency directly, SEC.com. Be able to upload a video directly. You don't have to go to 3Speak anymore, to 3Speak.tv.
Yeah, and I think that's great, especially for the shorts, because that seems, for whatever reason, to be something that's very hot right now. And if you could pop that into a thread, you could pop that into Ecency, you could pop that into these different applications. I think that's fabulous, and that way you don't have to leave the application to enjoy that feature. And that's what's going to set Hive, quite frankly, apart from all these other applications that, okay, you use Twitter for your microblogging, and I know they're starting to add long form content, but I don't believe people are going to use Twitter for long form content. Then you go to TikTok for your shorts. I know YouTube implemented shorts, but they're TikTok shorts. So there's the TikTok name right on YouTube, which is tremendous marketing, but for TikTok, by the way. This is what's going to set us apart. And I think that's where Hive can really excel, because you have these different teams working on these different projects, but there's pieces that all of a sudden somebody like Blaine says, hey, I can take that and incorporate it in. Or Cal says, hey, can I put this on our app? And all of a sudden Ecency says, hey, what about if we do this? And then all of a sudden you get the cross-pollination. So it comes back to that original front-end blockchain stuff where if you want to use PeakD, if you want to use Ecency, it doesn't matter what you Hive.blog to do your blogging. Now all of a sudden you got all these apps with all these other features, and it's like, well, use whatever you want. Except for Views, because Views has something special. Views does something no other front end on Hive does, and that's content discovery and into content sharing.
For Views, I was going to give you a feedback. I don't know if it has been already implemented, but for example, if you're voting content, what we were talking about, if you vote a post that is already over 24 hours, you will not get the same creation rewards. I understand that there are some users that really don't care. Right? They don't care if they get, but at least with Aliento, we do care, because we have to send the delegations. We have to pay the delegations, and we want to keep paying good earnings. And we also have a trail that follows us. And if we vote, the trail comes, and they will also get.
this is it brings up a bigger issue too, because this is something that we're eventually going to build into when we get this on the new framework, is that we're going to go all the way back to the Genesis block. So this comes into, how do you pay? It's the big question, right? It's one of the things that people seem to bring up all the time. How do we attract content creators to Hive when all they have is 7 days to get as much rewards as they can?
And if you are if you are more strict, you only have 24 hours, because after 24 hours, no one will vote your post, or not.
Yep.
Not a lot of people will vote your post. Appreciator will certainly will not vote your post, or or OCD or Aliento or other projects that want to support people, but are also for a win-win situation.
Yeah. And they want to maximize their return if they're curating.
Yes.
So this is the issue that I think, like, trust me, Blaine and I and Eliana, we've talked about it. Task and I have talked about it. I'm sure it will go layer 2. Some way it will have to be a layer 2 solution. It's just, how do we do that? 2 things. One, how do you make it as stupid simple? Because again, the people that we would be trying to attract to the 3Speak shorts, to Threads, to Dbuzz, to all of these apps, that it's got to be easy to use. It's got to be. It's got to be stupid simple for someone who doesn't know anything about Hive or posting keys or memo keys. They need to be able to say, okay, I like this. Now we've got to figure out how to make it, okay, they might have liked it. It's 2 months old, but it doesn't matter with the rewards pool because it's completely separate. So I don't have.
For example, Like2 has the upvote, and they have like a normal like an Instagram like, so you can click, or even they have like a reaction, and you can react with a heart, you can react with a lol face or a ha 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 face or something like that. Right. But those, of course, are not on the blockchain. Those are not blockchain likes and will not generate any kind of revenue. Maybe what could be done is that on the front end, when someone likes it, automatically goes to another account, or to, as we said, a beneficiary and you're liking maybe a comment or something else, and that comment is still 24 hours, in the 24 hours range, or it will go to an account that is like a pool, and that account will distribute the rewards. For example, when you vote a post token comment, it goes to rewarding.app. All the beneficiaries go to rewarding.app in Liquid, and then those are sent back in Liquid to the users that originally shared the post on Twitter. But if you auto vote your comment, that those rewards go to Hive.fund, to the DHF. So something like that already exists.
Yeah, I think what it's going to come down to, I think, is either A, which gets very difficult, is somehow you take part of your proof of brain reward pool and direct it to that. That's number one. Or number two, you have some type of way where maybe it's through revenue generation. You take the revenue generation, you go buy your token off the open market, and that's how you fill your evergreen reward pool. And so if you get something like that, where, to use Views as the example, because we know Views is going to bring in all the evergreen content into the rotation. So somehow you figure out a way to get a revenue stream going that allows you to go and buy the token on the open market and distribute that. So you're not trying to recreate a brand new token to give it value. It's tied into something that's already in existence under another umbrella. Because, if you look at and I just use CTP, but you can use Leo, you can use any of these that have multiple applications under one umbrella, that all ultimately should be reflected in the token. Whatever CTP creates, their different apps should all be reflected in the CTP. All the Leo apps should be reflected in Leo at some point. And so the more value that's created there, the more circular feedback economies that can be created, I think the better. And I don't know if that comes in with advertising. I don't know what the revenue generation model could be, but I think that's where then you could start doing, like John said, where built into the front end, you have the ability, maybe it's a different button to click, upvote this post or whatever that's 2 years old. And out of that, they get a little bit of whatever the token is. That's how I think it would work.
But the only way would be to create a new comment or a new posting Hive that will capture
No,
those
no, no,
beneficiaries.
no, because you're doing it layer 2, and you do
Okay.
it's through the blockchain, it's through the front end, and
Okay, well,
you do it through the front end.
okay.
And if you're using your base layer, or not your base layer, if you're using a Hive engine token as an example, then the transaction is on the blockchain as a custom JSON, but you're not paying out in Hive. But you can't pay out in Hive.
Okay. You will not be using your voting power, your high voting power.
No,
Okay.
no, you wouldn't be using your Hive voting power.
Okay.
You'd be using something else, just like on views when you use the thumbs up.
Okay.
You're not voting on Hive, you're voting on views. You can if you go and give your Hive vote away, but I think that's really where the layer 2 solutions will have to come in and use layer 2 tokens, whether it's Hive engine, whether it's Honeycomb, whether it's whatever 3 speeds.
And that will also solve the problem of all these users that get automatically downvoted on Hive. That we've seen a lot of people leaving Hive because of this, because for some reason, call it good, call it bad, conspiracy theories or whatever, they are automatically getting downvoted by big whales, and I don't know, just because they can, because they have this, and that's something that is scaring people away from Hive at the moment. For what I've seen.
Well, yeah, and it's discouraging, and it's but it's a problem that's been going on the 5 years that I've been here. I mean, I've been targeted a number of times by different people, whales, for whatever reason. It wasn't permanent, but they went through their stretches. I was in Bernie's crosshairs a number of times, and
Okay.
it's very frustrating. But I also think that still is a problem, Eddie, that people focus on Hive.
Yes.
It's like if you all of a sudden have these layer 2 solutions that the tokens are gaining in value, then there's less emphasis on Hive. And it's like, I mean, John laughs at me because he says, you don't even know who votes for you. I have no clue. First off, I'm in Leo Finance, so unless you have a fair bit of Leo Finance, I have no idea if they call me Dan votes me, because he doesn't have much Leo. So he wouldn't, even if I checked my Leo list, it's in Leo. So he wouldn't appear. Block Trades they'll appear way down. I'd have to search for him. But so, but I value Leo, and I think Leo will have tremendous value down the road. So I focus on Leo like I focus on Hive. I don't think most people do that. They say, oh, these layer 2s, which I can understand, because there's been a lot of layer 2s that, were just garbage. But, I've told John I'm not selling my CTP. I'm not selling my Leo. I'm not selling my Hive, because these are 3 tokens, 3 coins that I feel are going to be very strong because what's happening with the development. A lot of other stuff is out there, and I don't know what's going on with everything. So I can't say that there's not other projects that don't have spectacular tokens. That's highly possible. But these are 3 that I focus on, I know about, I have confidence in the development teams. And what if all of a sudden, I mean, what's CTP at, John? Like 5 cents, 3 cents, something like that? I don't even know what it's at.
It's under a penny.
Under a penny. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens if CTP gets to 60 cents, which isn't outrageous? I don't know what the float is, but 60 cents, all of a sudden you're looking at a 60x. Well, I mean, it's with views. I mean, Views, StumbleUpon had 25 million or 30 million users. So can Views get 100,000? If Views gets 100,000 users over 5 years, what's that going to do to the token price of CTP? I don't know, because I don't even know if it's going to be integrated, but it's under CTP umbrella. It's going to have some serious value. You know,
And talking about views, have you thought about the possibility for users that don't have a Hive account to upvote? Well, not upvote, but to give likes and comment on views.
Yeah, we wanted to. That was one of the things we were deciding. Like, and all of this stuff is being paused because we got to get this on the new framework before we're doing any more updates. But that's one of the things we wanted to do with not only going to the Genesis block. We were even having discussions about opening it up completely. So to the point where it wasn't just Hive content, it was like Stumble Upon. Like you would literally just feed the beast by liking things, and the more things that got liked and the more things, it would be a traffic generation.
Can I throw in an idea there, John?
Sure. Just like Wayne said, use the feedback form, please and thank you.
I'll have Eddie write it in Spanish and I'll use the feedback.
Perfect.
No, I thought about this and you know what? Because we've talked about like the quantified system of the gamification of how many times you hit the next button and the scoreboard, the leaderboard, whatever you want to call it. You could set that up where if you reach certain levels, that'll give you the ability to add outside of Hive content to it. So now your super users, your power users could say, okay, I want ESPN content, or I want CNN, or I want, Walt Disney Company, or whatever content, they can add that. And you don't have every Tom, Dick, and Harry doing it. But it gives you some incentive that, hey, work your way up the scale, reach.
You're trying to gamify it all. I love it. Love it.
That's how you learn English. Gamify. Not just kidding. Have you seen, talking about off-chain accounts, have you seen what Wavio is doing? Wavio?
I've heard about it. I haven't seen it, but...
You can create a Wavio account with Gmail, with Google. You know that connect with Google or connect with Facebook, or sign up with Google or sign up with Facebook. That will create you like a profile, and they use a proxy account. The proxy account that is a real Hive account. But when you comment, you don't need a Hive account. That account will comment for you. And if that account earns Wavio tokens or Wave tokens or Hive votes, I think you will start getting those funds. And I think the idea is that will actually buy you a Hive account in the future. And that way you don't have to, if someone is new, you don't have to push them in the face like, these are your private posting keys, and never lose them. If not, you're going to lose your account and you will lose your funds forever.
Yeah, Leo has signed up with Twitter, and they actually, when you use your Twitter account, they actually create the same account using your Twitter name as a Hive account. So they actually create you a Hive account, but they hold the keys, and at any time you can claim them, but figure people won't know what that is. So they log in with their Twitter account, they post, and they say, Eddie Spino on Twitter. Eddie Spino is the name of the Hive account. So they see their name posted and they think, oh, cool. And then, of course, if they want to get the rewards, they have to claim it at some point. But I think the move is if you can do something like that and then they earn enough, you let them buy their own account. Or you buy it.
I love things like this because if you guys remember Torum, they started saying, hey, we're on Hive, and I was just like, when I joined it, their gamification on how they encouraged people to learn their platform was brilliant. And just like Wavio does there, just like the Leo Finance, it should be released in steps. This is what I've always thought. I've thought, okay, when someone joins Hive, just get an account, go posting, but they don't need to know what a memo key is yet. They don't need it. They don't need it. They don't even need to know what an active key is yet, because they're just posting. They're literally just saying hi to people or whatever. And it should unlock in stages. So once they get, just like you said, Eddie, once it gets to a certain payout level, then it's like, there's the option. Okay, do you want to unlock your account? This will give you all your keys. And now you're unlocking this. And then there may be a little whiteboard video that explains what an active key is, et cetera, et cetera. I always thought that was the best way because it puts the carrot stick in front of people. And if people are sitting there posting and they're seeing this account grow, like, wait a minute, I got $3 in crypto just from saying hi to people, but you don't give it to them all at once. You put the carrot stick in front of them and gamify it. I always thought that was the best way to get people on board. But
I think that's one of the issues that, well, one, it's hard to get a Hive account, and two, you have to explain a bunch of things to people in order for them to make their first post. And I think as the Hispanic community, we have done that. It works for some people, but it requires a lot of interest or a lot of need. For example, that's why I say that in Venezuela the adoption is easier, because Hive really is a lifesaver for them. But in Mexico, people have their job. Maybe they don't earn a lot. Maybe they get by. It's not a lifesaver. It's not a life. I don't want to be dramatic, but a life or death scenario. So people are not that interested, because they will see all of the requirements, all of this knowledge, and all of this learning curve that they have to beat.
Right.
So it's harder in the sense that they don't have the need for the money, or for the rewards, or for whatever, or for the censorship resistance that should be one of the main, more than the money.
They have the incentive to learn. Like in Venezuela, they're like, I got to learn this because it can change my life. For the rest of the world, it's kind of like, $2, $3, you know.
Unless you have a lot of interest, which was my case, and also I was not doing a lot of things with my life at the moment, and but I had a lot of interest, and I didn't have a mentor that was pushing me. Now learn this and follow this. I was learning by myself, and I had like 20 tabs open, or bookmarks of posts that I wanted to read, but it was not easy. It was not a matter of hours. It was a matter of days, or of many hours of investment in time, and it was worth it. It's still one of the best decisions of my life, and it has changed my life for the better.
Oh, for sure.
Well, and I think see that, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, John, because ease of use is something that all technology has to go through if it wants mass adoption. You know, what the geeks design it and they make it geeky, which to them it's like real easy, but to the rest of us it's like our eyes glaze over. But what Eddie said is very important, and you use the word they have incentive to do it. When the stories start to get out how people are changing their lives, you know, you think about it. You go to school for 4 years, you drink beer, you chase women, you get a degree, and then you go looking for a job, and you're $200,000 in debt. And here with Hive, as Eddie said, you can be in a few days, if you really immerse yourself, you can be functionally literate here. It really does take months and months and months of really just interacting and learning. But you think about it, if you do that for 6 months, you're on a path where you could earn for the rest of your life. And we've compared it, John, to your field and the affiliate marketing. And of course, the biggest problem is the failures in affiliate marketing are the same failures on Hive. Well, people don't want to take the action. It's like, well, I did 3 posts last year. Why didn't I sell 150,000 of my product? You know, this type of stuff. And so we know that it requires work, it requires effort, it requires consistency. But again, if you can sit there and say, listen, if you spend the next 5 years creating content on this blockchain, especially going back to the legacy stuff that we were saying, if CTP figures out how to break that code, or Leo Finance or 3Speak, or whoever breaks the code, all of a sudden you can sit there and say, if you spend the next 5 years creating content, you're probably set up for life. You know, depending on where you live. If you're in San Francisco, okay, maybe not. But if you're in many other,
for a week,
yeah, get you through to next Monday. But you know, you start to do these things, and yes, that's why the Venezuelans, that's why the Cubas, that's why the Nigerias are our first layer, because they're so bad. The standard of living is so low. A couple $100 makes a significant impact in some of these areas. But, when we start sitting there saying, listen, you put 5 years in, and all of a sudden you go from zero with no money invested to, let's say, $250,000. $250,000 for most people is going to change their life, especially
Oh my
since it's
gosh. Yeah.
250,000 cash.
Hmm.
And is that unrealistic over 5 years? If we hit a situation where either Hive or some of these second layer tokens take off. I mean, if somebody has 50,000 Leo and we get $2 Leo, there's 100 grand. If somebody has 100,000 CTP and we get 50 cent CTP, there's 50 grand. I mean, these are not outrageous numbers.
Yeah. Well, that's why you got to build every day. Why we say it from mountaintops. Like, don't worry about the payout necessarily what it is in 7 days from now. Worry about 7 years from now. I mean,
that is what happens to some users, or to some new users, that they see that his friend that invited them or other users are getting $70 per post, or maybe $100 or $20 or whatever, and they start posting and they get nothing or a few cents, and then they get discouraged. So that's why I don't like selling Hive like a place to come and earn easily and right away, because in most cases, unless you have a friend that is a whale or a friend that can upvote you directly, in most cases it will not be the case. And I don't like that people get discouraged after 3 posts, only 3 posts, and they don't earn. So, for example, or they earn a lot in their introduction because they use the introduce yourself tag. They can earn a lot in their introduction, but then the following post, because maybe they don't post it in the right community, or they didn't share it, they don't have followers, they will not get any. In many cases, they will not get any rewards, and then they get discouraged.
Yeah.
So I don't know which could be the solution for them.
Well, I think Threads is potentially to be the solution, because I don't know about Task. I know because Task actually threaded it, but I'm giving out upvotes left, right, and center, and it's not like I'm giving 100% upvotes in Threads. I'm giving 5%, 10%, which is not a ton. But imagine if people started getting 50 cents, $1 every time that they're doing this. Then it's like, oh, but it's not even long form yet. This is literally just commenting and engaging with people, and that's where growth will come from.
Well, it's funny, John, because I just looked. Eddie sent out the same post, one in Spanish, one in English, and his Spanish one got 2 votes. His English one got 3 votes. So Eddie got 5 votes on 2 posts that between the 2 of them, they had maybe 120 words. Between not even that. And okay, he's not going to retire off of it, but it took him all of 30 seconds to do the 2 posts. And if he does that throughout the day, and I didn't look at what it's worth, because the new UI is in dollars.
Well, you got 39 cents and 27 cents. That's the post payout right now.
Well, that's only the Leo. Then there's also
that's Hive. That's Hive, and then Leo is probably like a couple cents, right? But I know
in the UI I see. Okay, 5 cents. But that is like almost 1 Leo. Almost 1 Leo. 1 Leo for each, more or less. But plus the Hive, depending on who votes you, because it depends if the user that votes also has a lot of Hive power. What I'm seeing is, maybe it's a feedback that I can give, is that if I click the Spanish tag, it doesn't show me any threads yet, or any content. It's blank if I click the Spanish tag.
Oh, because you're probably the only one who's used that tag, I think. Maybe.
I have to post with maybe that's why, right? I will ask Eric, can defeat the cow tag.
Yeah, I mean that's you're probably the first one. If you go on the right there of the new UI on the thread on the trending, go all the way to the bottom of the tags and it says show all tags, and then it'll show them all, and you can look down the bottom there and see how many posts are there. But I'm going to hypothesize you're probably the first one.
Maybe, it's not showing anything. It's just showing. Maybe it has to get more threads to be added, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know how quickly the tags update. They may take.
Maybe they are not updated yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will check back on that.
Just send out about 25 threads in Spanish and tag them all Spanish, and then see how quick see what's up.
Okay. I will do that.
That's awesome.
And you'll I know Hive Cuba's lurking around. I know there's a few others, so you'll probably get some people jumping in. Who's the one who does the videos for 3Speak? He always cuts up CTTs. Who's the one who does that?
Bill Bragg, but also Enrique is helping with the designs. Enrique 89.
Bill Pragg's Latino, right?
No, Bill Bragg is from
Europe somewhere.
From Europe, from Poland. I'm not sure from
Poland. Yeah, I think he's Polish. I think. Don't quote me.
Yes, Bill Bragg is from Poland because he has an accent.
So there was somebody I've seen him with CTT, and I know he speaks Spanish, and
maybe Enrique helps a lot. Enrique is from Hive Creators. He does the marketing for Hive Creators. He does the marketing for
Mark.
Mark. Mark is Bill Bragg. Marco is Bill Bragg. It's the same person. Marco.
Okay.
Marco is Bill Bragg. It's the same person.
Well, Marco then.
Dude, that was pretty awesome. We actually did an hour of content with Eddie, just totally impromptu. I mean, that was pretty good. Like, yeah,
Eddie has a lot going on, so there he.
Well, I know, but I mean, Eddie's taking over from.
I'm as beneficiary. I just want the HBD. I don't want to be famous. I'm just kidding.
Well, he's taking over Brian of London's spot, right? I mean, you know.
Well, he's going to teach us Spanish, John. Come hell or high water, he's going to have us to the north of Mexico learning Spanish.
Yeah, just not all the bad words.
I don't
No, him and I are north of Mexico. Me and John. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm way north.
You're way north.
Way north.
You're
Eddie,
so far north. You're almost in Russia.
It's up there. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I'm probably on the same latitude as Eddie.
Probably. I don't know why you said you're up north from Eddie. You're probably due east.
I'm in the east because you are in the east from me. I'm in the
He's totally east. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm probably just across the Gulf. I mean, if you went to the Gulf and just came across the Gulf, you probably
do it. Task. You should swim. Go meet Eddie on the beach somewhere. No?
Well, you keep going the way it's going. I told you, John, I might be swimming south on the Rio Grande.
You're closer to Cuba.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we're not. I'm probably
throw
Miami, so
you could throw a stone to Cuba where he is. Yeah.
Well, I'm probably 250 miles. But
be a pretty good.
I'm like, I don't know.
Epic.
Yeah, if I drove down to Miami, I think we're only 90 miles from Miami. They're real close.
Gentlemen, always a pleasure talking Hive, crypto.
Everything. Hey, and we got Eddie to do threads.
I know. It's great.
And Eddie's decided that he wants Spanish to be top trending, and he's gonna.
Well, if anybody can do it, I'm sure Eddie can. No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah. Guys, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Have a great night, and we will see you on Thursday with Like To and Elmer. See you guys.
Oh, nice. Nice. I will watch that. Bye bye. Thanks.